The Orphanage, in Spanish, El Orfanato, is a 2007 Gothic supernatural horror film and the debut feature of J.A. Bayona. The film's script was written by Sergio G. Sanchez in 1996 and brought to the attention of Bayona in 2004. Bayona asked his longtime friend, director Guillermo del Toro, to help produce the film and to double its budget and filming time. The Orphanage is an international co-production between Spain and Mexico. Bayona wanted the film to capture the feel of 1970s Spanish cinema. He cast Geraldine Chaplin and Belen Rueda, who were later praised for their roles in the film. In Spain, a young girl named Laura Garcia Rodriguez is adopted from an orphanage. 30 years later, adult Laura returns to the closed orphanage, accompanied by her husband, Carlos Sanchez Rivera, and their 7-year-old son, Simon. She plans to reopen the orphanage as a facility for disabled children. Simon claims to have befriended a boy named Tomas and draws pictures of him as a child wearing a sack mask. Social worker Benigna Escobedo visits the house to inquire after Simon, and it is revealed that Laura and Carlos adopted Simon and that he is HIV positive. Incensed at Benigna's intrusion, Laura asks her to leave. Later that night, Laura finds Benigna in the orphanage's coal shed, but Benigna flees the scene. Later, Simon teaches Laura a game which grants its winner a wish. Clues lead the two to Simon's adoption file. Simon becomes angry and says that his new friend told him that Laura is not his biological mother and that he is going to die soon. During a party for the orphanage's opening, Laura and Simon argue, and Simon hides from her after she slaps him across the face in a fit of frustration, which she immediately regrets. While looking for him, she encounters a child wearing a sack mask who shoves her into a bathroom and locks her inside. When Laura escapes, she realizes that Simon is missing and is unable to find him. That night, Laura hears several loud crashes within the walls of the orphanage. Police psychologist Pilar suggests to Laura and Carlos that Benigna may have abducted Simon. 6 months later, Simon is still missing. While searching for him, Laura spots Benigna, who is then struck and killed by an ambulance. The police find evidence that Benigna worked at the orphanage, and that she had a son named Tomas, who also lived there but was kept hidden due to his facial deformity. A few weeks after Laura was adopted, the orphans stole the mask that Tomas wore to conceal his deformed face. Embarrassed, Tomas refused to leave his hiding place in a nearby sea cave, and the rising tide drowned him. Laura asks for the assistance of a medium named Aurora in the search for Simon. Aurora conducts a seance during which she claims to see the ghosts of the orphans crying for help. Laura discovers the remains of the orphans she grew up with in the orphanage. Benigna poisoned their meals and killed them for having caused Tomas's death and hid their remains in the orphanage's coal shed. Unable to cope with the situation, Carlos leaves the orphanage. Laura makes the orphanage look as it did 30 years ago and attempts to contact the children's spirits by playing one of their role games. The spirits lead her to the door of a hidden underground room. Inside is Simon's corpse, wearing Tomas's mask. Laura finally realizes what happened. While searching for Simon the night he disappeared, Laura moved pieces of construction scaffolding, blocking the entrance to the secret room. The crashes that night were caused by Simon trying to get out. He fell and fatally broke his neck. Laura appears to take an overdose of sleeping pills. Then, apparently dying, she begs to be with Simon again, and the children's spirits appear, with Simon among them. Simon tells Laura that his wish was for her to stay and take care of the orphans. She then happily tells them a story. Sometime later, Carlos visits a memorial to Laura, Simon and the orphans. Carlos returns to the orphans' old bedroom and finds a medallion that he had given to Laura. He turns to look as the door opens, and he smiles. The orphanage stands up as a strong piece of work. The backbone of the film is undoubtedly the strong performance by Belen Rueda as Laura, who carries the entire film admirably. The film looks great, with stunning photography and very elegant sets, and a gorgeous building standing in for the orphanage itself. Sound and music work very well too, and the film succeeds in working many small elements together, such as a playground hiding game and some very clever revelations towards the end. So all in all, the film is an accomplished piece of cinema and well worth seeing, although don't expect too much real terror, as most of the chills in this film are poetic rather than gruesome. Thank you, my friends.